Welcome to Softcore History.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to Softcore History. I am your host, Rob Fox. And as a father, I would just like to say it's an honor to be here, just entertaining everyone's children. Everyone's a child. And as a father, I appreciate human life more because I made one.
Well, as the real father to your child, I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah.
And raising my child.
I appreciate you coming in.
Is that the new take now that you're the father?
He wants to dad cuck me.
Wait, that's it though? You don't want to rear the child?
Well, he'll teach him sports.
I'm waiting for him to grow to the age of probably like 7, and then
you gotta Marinovich him. You can like psychologically abuse him.
He's changing the diapers. He's teaching him how to walk and talk.
And like when I have to give him the talk, Dan will be in the corner correcting me.
It's like that's not what you do with.
Now listen, there's a father bull and a son bull on a hill.
What?
Elaborate.
Okay, I'm not going to. It's a Sopranos quote. Come on.
Okay, don't know.
It's like literally everyone's uncle takes the Sopranos quote and teaches like their nephew about sex. I don't
remember that part.
You don't remember that quote?
No, I don't.
Never mind.
Yeah. We'll move on. We'll power through that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's on me. That's more on me. I've watched The Sopranos a lot.
You know, it's too niche of a reference, The Sopranos.
No, I like The Sopranos. I just don't remember that. Anyway, I'm Jake Goldman. Good to be here.
Yeah, Jake's here. Dan's here. We're having a good time.
Kingsman Golden Circle.
I'm having
just saying it with no context now. I'm for it.
This is the first decent amount of alcohol I've had since I've had a child, so I'm enjoying that. For now, when I get home, I'm gonna want to die. But it's cool. It's cool. How you guys doing?
Good.
Enjoy this weekend of college football?
I did nothing else but watch football.
Same. I watched football for 12 hours. It's awesome.
It's the best day.
Kylie was out of town.
That's even,
She's like, you aren't texting me enough. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm just distracted.
Just beating off and watching college football.
That's all I did.
Live betting.
Yeah. Oh, I did. I ordered like 3 pounds of Valentinas.
Yeah.
Took 2 hours past the order due. And that was sick. I got to just chill. Whenever you order Valentina's, great place in Austin right now, South Austin, if you order that barbecue. But make sure to tack on about an hour and a half to that
That's the whole point. It ruins the whole point of ordering ahead.
Yeah, all of their employee talent goes into smoking the meats and not getting the smoked meats to you.
And then like when you ask somebody, because there's a few older women that are waiting in line, and of course they had to let the employees hear that they're a little disgruntled, and the employees were just like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I love that response.
Yeah.
No, I actually prefer it if someone starts getting mouthy with an employee and they're like, it gets here when it gets here.
Yeah, they're like, where in line am I? And he's like, there's the pile of tickets. Yeah. Do you know which order? No.
You're not the only one here today, just so you know. A lot of people ordered fucking brisket today.
Right.
Get this.
Yeah,
that's what I did Saturday morning. First thing, I woke up at like 8:30. I put in that order, and it's like, all right, be ready by 10:21.
First off, if you ordered it the day of, even if it was 8:30, you were probably pretty low on the line. I bet there's a lot of Saturday orders that were made like
probably. Yeah, you're right.
For sure. But I mean, still, that is annoying. But Valentina's fucking slaps.
It does.
It's so good.
It's good.
But I asked about college football because we have another episode that is. It's not college football based like Jake's last week, but it is about rabid fans, about insane fans. And usually, when we think of insane sports fans, we think of like a stabbing in a Zaxby's parking lot after an Auburn-Alabama game that was really close.
I think of cricket murders.
Okay.
Yeah. That's my thing now. I'm into cricket.
I know you are. I know that's still your thing.
Yeah.
Name 2 positions in cricket.
Throwy guy and swingy paddle.
Batter is actually one of them.
Batter was one, yeah. And then there's
it's paddle boy is what you're thinking.
Paddle boy and pitch man.
Throw boy.
Yeah.
Throw sir. Yeah. Or we think of like, Philly fans trying to kill Santa, which I know always gets on
It was justified. It was justified.
Why?
Well, first off, it was a skinny Santa. He was in a blue suit.
Those are mistakes.
Yeah.
It was just a fan that was in the stands. Because the real Santa didn't show up, obviously.
Yeah.
There's no good boys and girls in Philadelphia.
Yeah, so it was a fan they took out of the stands. It was also like, what, in the 60s? So my grandfather probably threw snowballs at Santa.
Probably.
Yeah.
And
Was
then,
he like shoving a Duracell in the ice? And then
oh, no, that was my
together?
dad who threw batteries at Jimmy Johnson. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's awesome.
They're throwing batteries at J.D. Drew, too, back in the day.
We're a big battery.
You are a big battery.
City.
Which doesn't make any sense.
If it weren't for Philadelphia, Duracell would have gone under years ago.
Yeah, that's the only reason.
They're unpackaging batteries in there to throw them at people.
I mean, Elon Musk only opens battery factories in the hopes that Philly sports will get relevant again.
He's really got to stop making rechargeable ones.
But
Yeah.
listen, you're only going to get your ass beat. You're going to have some battle wounds when you go into Philly, but you're not going to end up dead like in L.A.
That's true.
Yeah, they're not going to put you in a coma.
You're not going to go to a Dodgers game. I mean, every time you go to a Dodgers game, it's a good chance you might not come back.
That's a stabbing waiting to happen. No, you're right. At a Philly game, like a drunk, obese man with like a mustard stain on his shirt, yeah, he'll punch a lady in the face.
Right.
But at a Dodger game, 3 like pretty in shape Latino dudes from the bleachers will smash your skull into the pavement in the parking lot.
Also, with just white guys, too.
White
could
guys will do that as
in
well.
L.A.
Yeah.
Just like kind of tatted up white dudes in L.A. that'll just slit your throat.
A lot
Yeah.
of face tats.
Either way.
Didn't that little robot hitchhiker make it all the way through Canada and then get murdered?
Oh,
in
so
Philly?
yeah, he made it all the way through most of the United States as well. Yeah, just a fun little societal project of us transporting this little robot from city to city, and he got to Philadelphia, and he ran into the wrong guy in a Randall Cunningham jersey at 2:00 in the morning. So yeah, he met his
Decapitated.
demise.
God
What'd you say
knows
about
what
the
else.
fucking birds?
I'd love to know what
Go birds!
I would truly love to know what they found in that robot's stomach. Like, I want a robot autopsy. The wires are just frosted.
It was missing $20.
Yeah, that 100%. Yeah. But yeah, sports hooliganism, it goes back further than we think, actually, beyond like soccer or 19th century boxers or 18th century horse racing, whatever the fuck you want to talk about. It has really, it's not the first, it's for sure not the first, but its most famous roots are in the Eastern Roman Empire.
Sounds right.
AKA the Byzantine Empire, Constantinople being its capital, where most of the chariot racing that these people went bananas about happened. Chariot racing was actually huge in the Roman Empire. And then, if you've seen the movie Ben-Hur, very famous chariot race scene.
Ben-Hur, barely know her.
You went there.
I did.
He's not afraid to go there.
Guys, I'll do it. I'll fucking do it. I swear to God, I'll do it again, too, if you say it.
Please don't.
I won't. I'm sorry.
Never again. But yeah, it was big in the Roman Empire, and then when it split, it was still big, and then the Western Roman Empire fell, and they didn't necessarily have the resources to do that kind of grand spectacle of games, but the Eastern Roman Empire did, because when the Western Roman Empire fell, the Eastern Roman Empire was still basically the world superpower.
Right.
Just a dirtier version.
I would say, in a lot of ways, a more competent version. I also like to say that the best, I think I've said this on the show before, the best analogy for the United States historically is probably the Eastern Roman Empire to date. We'll see how it goes. I hope that's not true, because the Eastern Roman Empire had a it was a candle that burned bright and short.
They weren't here for a long time. They were here for a bad time.
Like orphans, yeah. Yes. But yeah, the Eastern Roman Empire, they were all about chariot racing. Gladiatorial games went by the wayside, but chariot racing was still a thing. And fandom was a big fucking deal. There were 4 factions, red, white, green, and blue.
I love that it's just colors.
Yeah, well, you know.
They didn't have to name it shit. Like, that was the original thing. It's
Yeah,
like,
that was the first. I mean,
no one's named anything after color.
We're in the 21st century. We have the Cincinnati Reds, the St. Louis Blues. I want to say, isn't Chelsea called the Blues? There's like a British soccer team, EPL team.
I think Arsenal is the Reds.
The Reds, yeah.
Yeah. You can't mention Cleveland, though, because they're actually named after a group of people.
Yes.
They're the family, the Brown family.
Yes.
Oh, that's where you went. Okay.
The Browns.
I was worried.
Oh, no.
really worried.
Yeah, I can see how that could get misconstrued. No, the Brown family.
Browns. Yeah. There's a lot. But yeah.
Touché.
So those were the 4 like major factions, and yeah, you just wore your color.
Listen here, Red.
Yeah, you rooted for your
You're
colors.
in blue territory.
Kind of accurate, as we'll get into.
I feel like it's got to be an easy way to not get lost. It's like, oh, Oh, man.
Honestly, it's just
They're all in blue.
Yeah, it's like San Andreas. When
It's
you do the turf wars,
The Grove Gang, the
Ballers.
Ballers, and then the
map just lights up
Vagos.
pink or
yeah.
pink and green.
Do you remember there was always that one little gang territory up in the San Francisco area that you had to go get? That was in like where Sausalito would be.
It's like I'm not protecting that area.
No,
I'm giving that up.
That's
every
gone.
time.
Yeah.
Well, what's weird about these is they were very tribalistic in their fandom, but they weren't. It wasn't necessarily at any point geographic. You know how like the EPL teams, like they're different parts of London, like Green Street hooligan style.
So these are F1 drivers.
In a way, and so like Chariot drivers, they could switch teams, and but obviously the fans stayed the same. And Chariot drivers actually made a shit ton of money. These were not like gladiators, like
Right.
They made,
Again, F1 drivers.
Yeah,
These are
these people
Mercedes,
made-
Red Bull. These fucking like I know I'm very limited on my F1 knowledge. It comes from people that we know that turned
No, but
30
I
years
feel like
old,
people-
white guys on Twitter,
So Jared.
just really getting into it.
People root for drivers in F1 racing.
No, I root for team.
They go team. They're like Red
So
Bull,
it's not like
Mercedes.
NASCAR. Where
I root for Ferrari.
NASCAR, you root for drivers, right?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no one's rooting for Hendrix Racing.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
it's all about teams.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
from my understanding, the brief interaction I get, like the 15 minutes or so I see on the timeline every week.
You can have like a driver that's your favorite for sure. Like I do like Daniel Ricciardo, but I
Once he's gone,
I actively though I do like the Ferrari team. It's just a classic.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how it is in this too. And since these are human beings we're talking about, hashtag shit don't change. Their fandom was pretty similar to modern sports fandom in a lot of ways. Like you could get figurines of the most popular racers, and like in their chariots, or just like
Do you think they had Funkos?
Funkos.
Yeah, they had Funkos.
Yeah, probably
Chariot Funkos.
like a bobblehead
Yeah.
situation.
but like F1, where there are certain chariot racers where if they just got on the podium, they were super pumped. They're like, fuck yeah, third place.
Yeah, so I'll get into that, but essentially the two main dominant teams were green and blue, and red and white were kind of like second tier. So yeah,
Out of the
red,
four?
They're just happy to finish the race.
pretty much, yeah. And we'll get into that more in a moment. So they would sell figurines and other like merchandise and shit like that, other trinkets celebrating the teams or like famous racers. Archaeologists have even found curse tablets in which fans would ask the gods to make the other team lose or have a opposing driver be maimed or killed in the race.
I am a huge fan of that. I have a cursed tablet every time we play Georgia.
Yeah. Well, they would also
Doesn't seem to work very often.
throw
Oscar.
cursed tablets with nails in them onto the track.
I also do that every time we play Georgia.
Although I feel like you could attribute any success those had more to the nails
Then the
than
curse.
the gods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gods, put those nails in the right place at the right time.
The gods
Yeah.
guided the throw. Yeah. By the
Right.
way, this is the Eastern Roman Empire, so we're in full-blown Christianity at this point.
so
These
the
people-
god. Yeah.
These people just went to the old gods because they knew Jesus wasn't going to do it for a chariot race.
Jesus isn't
Well,
gonna do
old
shit
God
for a
in the
chariot
Old
race.
Testament would definitely do some stuff like
No,
this.
they were going polytheist.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
those gods are pettier.
They were.
They really don't like slander or spite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And Old Testament God is petty, but polytheistic gods are real dickholes.
They're fickle assholes,
Especially
man.
the Greek
Yeah.
ones. I mean, this is essentially Greco society. So, yeah. So they would, ask for curses. They'd bypass Jesus for it because they knew Jesus doesn't get his hands dirty on sports. Like
No.
Angels in the outfield is bullshit.
I like how it's like, yeah, monotheism's like the thing, but it's not because it's technically still polytheistic if you can go to a different set of gods.
Right.
For,
Well, I mean, even
anything.
Catholicism is fairly polytheistic. You pray to Mary, you pray to the saints.
Yeah, Jesus is essentially Rob Lowe who shows up to an NFL game and just wears the shield hat.
hey guys,
Just wants everyone to have a good time. But
hope we all win.
what was funny about these fandoms is that, like you were saying earlier, they were not really divided geographically or sociopolitically. Like it wasn't like rich people rooted for green, like blue collar, like workers rooted for red, or something like merchants rooted for white, or something like that. It was kind of random. Like it was kind of there was no clear dividing situation with who rooted for what. Like it was, I assume you were born into it to a certain extent,
Sure.
but also like It was just fandoms. Like
My father rooted for red, and his father rooted for red, and the father before him rooted for red.
yeah, pretty much.
The father before him was a cave person.
Even though it's about how far back it goes.
Yeah.
Even though the factions were not socially, politically divided, like that's how they got chosen or whatever, they essentially became socio-political entities in and of themselves. What I mean by that is, so the Eastern Roman citizenry, specifically in Constantinople, which was like more or less the most important city in the world at that time, certainly in the Western world, they didn't really have any other outlet or like any other outlet that was as organized and passionate to like express their will collectively.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it was not a representative democracy. Like
There's nothing to cheer for. Yeah.
Yeah, and there was no like there weren't unions or guilds or anything like that. So just accidentally,
Damn right.
these
Fucking
Look,
unions.
We're about to get into some union busting. Don't worry, kind of with these guys.
Good. I hate the fucking weekend.
I agree. It's stupid.
The weekend's dumb.
And I hate not working.
We should work 8 days a week.
I hate not working with children.
Yeah.
By the way, Jake, do you remember that old bodybuilding.com forum?
How many days are in a week?
Yeah. Classic internet.
Yeah.
Literally, like, not ironic. People were arguing how many days there were in the week because some guy had, I think he worked out 4 different muscle groups.
He worked out every other day though, in a week.
Okay, but I believe he was working 4. Like the whole thing
Right.
was there's 8 days in a week because I work each muscle twice a week.
Okay.
So there's 8 days in a week, and
Okay.
I don't think
Because someone was using it on a 14-day scale to try and calculate it, and someone was using a 7-day scale. And he's like, "No, you work out 3.5 days a week." He's like, "That's fucking stupid. I don't work out a half day. I work out a full day. So I work out 8 days. I work out 4 days a week." But he's doing it over 2 weeks, and so you can see where the math here starts to fall apart. You probably should look it up at another time. We could probably do a whole episode on this thread.
we should.
Yeah.
We should because it's
We could do a
enough
whole-
time's passed since.
honestly,
it's like 2009 thread.
We could probably do a whole episode on just the
bodybuilding.com
best
forums.
threads from bodybuilding.com forums.
Also, whenever you search something relatively close, anything that's workout related, and it's a bodybuilding.com forum answer, it's from at least 2011.
Yeah, didn't they get rid of it at
I
some
think
point?
it's still a thing.
Oh, is it?
But
Oh,
like
okay.
every answer they have, their SEO was fucking killing it back
Yeah.
in 2008,
Clearly,
2009.
it's still fucking going.
There's some guy named Glenn God. Like, no, what you need to do is just drink a quart of milk every single day, never jerk off, and lift 500 pounds over your head.
Yep.
Oh, I was gonna say, if you guys need breast milk,
Yeah.
I got a source.
You got a guy?
Yeah, I got a guy.
Got a guy for it.
It's me.
It's him. It's his kid.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
it's pretty cool. I just pump.
Picking up what you're putting down.
I just pump my kid's stomach, and then I
a
feed
lot of
him.
protein, right?
Oh,
a
come on.
lot of nutrition.
Yeah, well, I feed him formula after, but I'm like, Daddy needs that gold. Yeah, and I don't mean that. I'm not referring to myself as daddy, like, oh, I'm his father, and I'm like, your daddy needs that gold.
It's you don't wait for your wife to just fall asleep and just
Milk it out.
milk it out.
That would
Yeah,
take
you
too
would think
long.
it would be that easy, but it's super not. It actually blows my mind that human beings are here. Between watching her struggle through a birth with 21st century medical technology and getting milk out being a fucking nightmare.
Yeah,
We shouldn't be here.
It's not as instinctive as people think.
No,
Yeah,
we
there's like a
shouldn't be
whole
here.
process to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
fucking
we
ridiculous.
fuck up a lot, but those fuck ups created things like cheese. So
It's true.
That's true. By the way, if you guys need some breast milk cheese, I know a guy.
shit, you got another guy?
Is there lactose in breast milk?
It's still my son. It's just I don't get to the milk as quickly to pump out of him, so it's a little curdled.
That's the
the
puke
process,
part. That's
yeah.
how the cheese is made.
Yeah. What is cottage cheese but vomited
Regurgitated
milk?
breast milk.
Yeah.
I'm not going to eat the rest of the night now, so that's cool for me, I guess.
Tight.
Yeah.
Tight. So yeah. Anyway, these fandoms became socio-political entities in and of themselves. So at the end of the day, the chariot racing fandom, like fan bases, became like a weird mix of sports fandom, like normal sports fandom, political parties, and street gangs.
Okay.
Fun.
They were kind of all three combined. Like imagine, honestly, the best way to put this is like, imagine if Green Street Hooligans was in the most important city in the world and they kind of helped decide how the government was run.
Cool. That
Yeah.
sounds terrifying.
It's not great. So
That's like if the Raiders fans just, they're in Las Vegas now. It'd be like if the Raiders fans just ran Las Vegas.
Hey, man, Packers fans are owners.
yeah,
That
every
is
Packers
so-
fan is an owner.
That's the lamest shit. in the
Didn't
world.
Jared go to school with that guy who wrote something like NFL owner reacts to Colin Kaepernick, and it was just a random Packers season ticket holder?
I think so, yeah.
He did. I think he did because he talks about it on Twitter, so but he won't add him. But like that guy's like the dumbest motherfucker alive.
He's an owner, part owner.
Yeah, part owner. And like the guy knew that he was full of shit and like wrote in the intro, he was like, I just started to interview this type of owner because I thought it was more reflective of the like everyman, how real Americans think.
That's dumb.
Yeah, it's real dumb.
Yeah. So is calling yourself an owner
Yes.
of the Packers
Yeah.
because you hold a season ticket.
Those fucking people. They deserve what they get with Aaron Rodgers this year.
You mean that guy that's won one conference championship?
Super Bowl.
He's won a Super Bowl. But he's only been to one Super Bowl too, right?
He's 1-1 in Super Bowls.
No, he lost one.
No, he's only been to the Super Bowl once.
Did he lose? Rodgers lose one?
He loses the Steelers.
No, he beat the
They beat the
Steelers.
They beat the Steelers, yeah.
Okay, so he's only been to one, I think.
I don't remember, and I don't care. Anyway, so they say, you know, you guys have probably heard the saying like bread and games,
Yeah.
right? Like keeps their own citizens happy, blah, blah, blah. Holloway likes to say it all the time on our fucking things. That's kind of a misnomer because it's not like emperors would throw games just to like appease these people when they're getting pissed off. Like these were complex societies and economies. Like
Yeah.
there were games happening constantly, hence the fandom. But essentially, like when there was like a bread and games situation, it was, I don't know, people were pissed off or the emperor decided to celebrate something, so they would just throw like an extra March Madness.
I would love that.
Right?
If like discontent created like, oh, we're doing the college football playoff again.
Right? Like
How did we not do that during COVID?
Yeah, it's like actually the college football season is all year now.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I would have been fine with
We're
it.
doing it more. Like the
Yeah.
Afghanistan pullout goes bad, Biden just puts on an extra college World Series.
Yeah.
Or
Just like,
something.
That's not really
That's
gonna
not
get
good.
to
That's not- that's not moving numbers for anybody.
That's pretty bad. You're right.
this is September Madness now.
Another
Yeah.
March Madness. Just another
Yeah.
March Madness. Just right then. It's like, hey, we're having a tournament. Or like you get all the NBA players back just for one quick term. Whatever.
Yeah.
I love that. I want that. Mm-hmm. They were lucky in that way.
I'd say the luckiest.
Yes.
Yeah.
They really were. But yeah, so by the time of the Eastern Roman Empire, the number one sport was chariot racing by a long shot, and it was a humongously integral part of society. Chariot racing and the fandom was like, that was it. That was a part of the culture. And it was so much part of the culture.
The culture?
The culture of the Eastern Roman Empire.
Okay.
And the culture. It was so much part of the culture that you might ask, oh, like the NFL, like how it's big in America? No, not even fucking close. Imagine, so reading about all this and how much political weight it had, and I'm not saying this as a judgment on his message or whatever at all, but like these people make Colin Kaepernick look like amateur hour. Like whatever Colin Kaepernick did to the American discourse, it's a drop in the fucking bucket compared to how much of the political discourse these chariot fandoms control.
How so? Tell me more. I want to know what the difference is.
Oh, I'm going to get to that.
Okay.
Chariot fan groups were such an important part of Eastern Roman culture and politics that in order to essentially legitimize themselves, emperors had to choose a team to root for.
That's awesome.
Like you couldn't not do it. And it wasn't like Obama being like, oh, I'm a White Sox fan. They're like Bill Clinton rooting for Arkansas when they won the tournament in like 94, 93 or whatever. Like they had to pick a side.
That doesn't seem like fair, though, right?
What do you mean?
I would probably, if that team started to succeed and the Emperor is a fan of that team, I would have my questions.
I'd be like, how's he helping them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that happens to an extent. So Emperor Theodosius II was a fan of the Greens. He's a fan of the Green team. So much so that he changed the seating at the Hippodrome, which was the stadium
Right.
for the racing, so that the Green fans got the best seats.
Sick.
So the Green fans had like fucking ringside seats. Or
Yeah, they
whatever
just
the fuck.
the entire first row around the thing was Green fans.
Although I can't imagine fan cheering has a huge effect on
How a chariot race
on a
goes?
chariot race.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely
As
not.
opposed to like a football game or a basketball game or something like that.
No, it's momentum sport. Fans are
Chariot
dictating.
racing is
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could try to spook the. Well, I will say this: if you're closer to the track, easier to throw your curse tablets onto the.
You mean your nails?
Yeah, your
nails.
nails
It's a lot easier to hit a horse with the nails.
Yeah. So he was a fan of the Greens, gave the Greens the best seat. His successor, Marcian, got annoyed by how cocky the Greens had gotten under Theodosius. So he decided to change their seats. No, just kidding. He decided to ban all Greens from holding public office.
They could do that.
Yeah. So if you're a fan of the Green team, get the fuck out. You're not a judge anymore.
The original death penalty.
Wait, was he like a blue
They were
guy?
sanctioned.
I imagine he's a blue guy then.
So green and blue were the biggest ones, by far. So he might have been. He was probably a blue, but I didn't see that in my research. But he did not like the Greens. There was another emperor after him, Anastasius, who tried to stay kind of neutral and not piss off the blues or the greens, because essentially you would pick one and then the other one would fucking hate you, and that's like half the city.
Yeah,
and they're just dicks about it. Like, I imagine this is a very similar setup to how if the South had won the Civil War and they're just electing presidents, and it's really just based on which SEC team they're.
I was about to say, it's probably just like running for governor of Alabama.
Yes,
it's like, are you a fucking Tide guy, or are you an Auburn guy?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on?
And get the UAB guy the fuck out of here.
Yeah, wait, UAB? Fuck no.
No, like
South Alabama? Absolutely not. Can't trust that guy.
No.
Who did? Fuck! I was about to say Brett Favre, but that was Southern Miss, not South Alabama.
Clearly, Gene Chizik.
Doesn't Tuberville
Yeah,
Tuberville
is
stuff in
senator.
Alabama?
It's
Yeah.
a disgrace that Tommy Tuberville won a statewide election as an Auburn coach.
I loved the mudslinging commercials. It's like he quit on his team. It talked about how he bailed on Auburn. It's like, that's
Kinda
pretty
did.
good.
And Cincinnati, right?
And Texas Tech.
And Tech, all of them. But the Emperor Anastasius, he wanted to stay kind of neutral, not piss off one or the other. So he decided to be a fan of the Reds, declare himself for the Reds, because it's so shitty that people.
It wouldn't affect anything.
Yeah, literally.
It's like being a Jags fan.
Yeah, exactly.
Harmless.
However, his relative neutrality did not make the factions very chill. The chariot racing, like, these people were crazy about it, so they got mad at each other a lot. There were a lot of riots and rumbles and things like that. And during Anastasius' reign in 501, the Greens took to the streets and ambushed the Blues and beat them up.
Because the guy picked the Reds?
No, just because.
Oh, for sure.
I
Okay.
don't like them.
They didn't like
Yeah,
them.
those guys are dicks.
And by beat them up, I mean they killed 3,000 of them.
3,000.
Whoa. Hold on.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. That's like an entire student section.
In the streets.
Like, imagine
Yeah.
if like they just went out and like, if Alabama fans, like, if after the kick six, they're like, you know what? We're going to kill all these kids.
It's a micro genocide.
Yeah. No, yeah. They laid an ambush and killed 3,000 Blue fans in the streets of Constantinople.
That's a bit much. I'm going to say they took it too far that time.
This is some serious shit.
Yeah,
you don't
it's-
understand. Chariot
clearly
racing, all
don't.
these people have.
Yeah, and then poison trees. They
Killed the fans.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was pretty big.
Wait. You say that like
But not the biggest.
Nah, there's more.
Oh, God. Okay.
So the Emperor Justinian, enter him. He's next. I don't know if he's immediately next, but he's like within the next two. He is, by all accounts, considered the best emperor in Eastern Roman Empire history.
Was there only like 2 famines under his reign?
There was only one Black Death under his reign.
Good for
yes.
him. Good for Justinian.
We talked about him before. Justinian's
Yeah.
plague during the worst years to be alive in human history.
Oh, he was under that.
Yeah.
Umbrella.
He was in part of that umbrella, yes.
So he's one of the best, but he's also his worst year is the worst of all the worst.
Black Death isn't really his fault. Can't really put that on him.
I'm kind of putting it on him.
putting it on him?
Yeah.
All right.
He didn't react fast enough.
It's actually prairie dogs' faults. Varmints.
What, the Black Death?
It's some weird
Rats.
animal. It's not, it's more so than rats. It's another animal.
A pangolin?
It's not a pangolin either. That's us. That's our time.
we fucked the pangolin.
We fucked the pangolin. Yeah. It was some sort of like prairie dog animal. It's a marmot.
Okay.
Yeah.
They did the Black Death?
They're actually thinking it's like either marmot or like some sort of beaver. Like, but it just happened to get to rats, and rats like blew it up.
Perfect.
Yeah. So like everyone blamed bats, but it was really pangolins.
Was it?
Yeah, pangolins.
Or was it a lab?
I heard it was a lab.
Oh yeah. Chocolate lab.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the Justinian, best emperor in Eastern Roman history, he basically reconquered all of Western Rome during his reign, like basically reunited the Roman Empire, most of it. He wrote one of the most comprehensive legal codes in human history. He did lead the Eastern Roman Empire into and out of, I mean, he didn't really get them into, but led them out of the Black Death and oversaw massive, humongous, insane construction projects throughout the empire that still stand today.
Like digging mass graves.
Yeah, that was part of them.
That was part of it.
Beautiful mass graves.
The facilities of these fucking graves.
The mosaics.
Unrivaled.
Yeah, unbelievable. But all of that was almost derailed early in his reign. This is what the historian John Malasis, this is like a contemporary historian, it's from the time. John Malalysis actually wrote about him. This is how important chariot racing is. This is in the first paragraph that John Malalysis, a contemporary historian,
Say John Malalysis.
John Malalysis,
Okay, thank you.
wrote about Justinian, the most important emperor in Eastern Roman Empire history. In appearance, he was short with a good chest, a good nose, fair-skinned, curly-haired, round-faced, handsome with receding hair, a florid complexion, with his hair and beard graying. He was magnanimous and a Christian. He favored the blue faction. That was worth including in the first fucking sentence about Justinian.
Interesting.
Cherry on top, favored the blue faction, right? All of his none of what I just read off would have happened if it wasn't for the fact that he favored the blue faction. And also favoring the blue faction almost caused all of it to happen. So early in his reign, there was... Oh, actually, hold on, let me go back a little bit first. Justinian was married to Theodora. That was his wife. Eastern Roman Empire didn't really like him very much because a lot of like the aristocracy and even the civilians and stuff like that, because him and Theodora, his wife, are of low birth, lowish birth. His uncle was the emperor, but he's, I guess, like the poor gross nephew.
Yeah.
But came to the throne somehow. So he married Theodora, also of low birth, and she rooted for the Blues as well. However, that was a bit of a scandal because it felt like a little bit of a betrayal because her dad was a bear trainer for the Green faction.
Wait.
What are the bears?
Why do they have bears? This is a chariot race.
Great question. Don't know.
They have obstacles then. The bears
like
are the
I
obstacles.
Like a
don't
road
know.
track for...
I don't know what else these people were doing.
Yeah, when shit got real bad, they do the bear games.
Yeah.
It's like, all right,
But her
you want
dad
more chariot races? This one's got a bear.
Trained bears for the Greens.
Yeah.
Well, modern like Russian circus bears.
If you can race a bear, you can race a chariot.
Yeah, if they're
Yeah.
riding fucking motorcycles through fires like hoop fires, I'm sure they can ride a chariot. You can train these bears. These bears are probably part of the team.
Bear
Maybe-
races.
Yeah, like it's like you get a shitty car before you can get a good one. So before they give you a horse, you have to use a bear on the chariot. That's like
Or
the testing ground.
Should you have a bear at the front of the horses, or maybe like a bear? Actually, here's the better way to do it.
The bear's behind the
bear's
horses.
behind it, tethered behind the
He's
chariot.
got the reins.
No,
the bear's got the reins.
The bear's tethered behind the chariot, and you sick him on the people behind you.
Yeah.
Right? Like the bear's
Oh, it's like Mario Kart.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
with a bear
Yes.
and a chariot.
Yeah.
Just like Mario Kart.
So Theodora's dad trained
Mario's
bears
Italian.
for the Greens.
Cool.
But Theodora adopted the Blues like her husband. Justinian's fandom was actually used against him by less sympathetic historians. The historian Procopius claimed...
Also modern, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Modern historians also.
The guy with no last name, Procopius.
Yeah. In his work, Secret History, I guess this was all like the dirty things you didn't hear about.
It's old because it's called Secret History, not of anything, just Secret History.
Secret History.
Yeah.
There were only like 8 titles of books back then,
Yeah.
and 5 of them were just variations on Bible.
Yeah.
So
The truth.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So he said that Justinian, because he was a fan of the Blues, let Blues fans kill and rape and steal at will, and also molest children at will.
That's a pretty common smear.
Sounds like a bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like a real jerk. How good could he have been?
Yeah.
Black Death.
Blue fans were also allowed
Molestation.
Child rape.
Yeah.
This is your king.
This is my king. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
my
your
guy.
king?
I'm backing him. I don't care what you say.
You would.
Blue fans were also apparently Justinian let them like make women have sex with their slaves, defile churches, all kinds of wild shit.
The blue faction sounds pretty metal.
Pretty
Not
tight,
gonna
right?
lie. Yeah. Nah.
This was probably bullshit because Justinian was like obsessed with the law. Like I said, he wrote like one of the most comprehensive legal codes in like human history.
His name is Justinian. That's not surprising to me.
Yeah, right. It just
Yeah.
sounds legal. Just sounds.
Was Justice named after him?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Sure. Why not?
I'm pretty sure it had to have been.
This historian
Connect the
also.
dots. Yeah.
What?
Follow the money.
Follow the money, connect the dots.
Cui bono.
Yes.
I still don't remember what that means. You're gonna have to explain that to me every time.
I
you say
ask
it.
cui bono every time some debt collector calls me on money.
What do you have to gain?
I'm like, cui bono. And they're like, sir, the people who you owe the debt to, bono. You owe the money.
you too.
And I'm like, cui bono, and then I just hang up the phone. Anyway, my house is getting foreclosed.
Better start pumping out more milk, man.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm trying to sell this milk. Who needs milk? My baby's got a stomach, and my wife has working breasts.
I bet you if you went
And I've
out,
got some rubber pipe.
you could set up a folding card table outside of the Westlake Gold's Gym. You'll get a couple customers.
100%.
What the fuck is that?
It's a fly.
That is a pterodactyl. Of a fly.
But yeah, so Procopius also, his other thing, he didn't like Theodora either, didn't like Justinian's wife. So he said that Theodora, who was of lowish birth, middle class maybe, I don't know, she got famous in Constantinople by taking the stage in theaters
What a bitch.
and filling her vagina and asshole with rice and then letting geese eat the rice out of her pussy and asshole.
I think this guy might have been lying. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say this guy might have had some personal issues that he's lying about.
What a show, though.
What'd they call it? The aristocrats.
Yeah. And geese, of all things. Such a mean bird.
It's like, if I'm going to have any animal eat anything out of any orifice on my body, it's not the one that's going to peck at it.
No, no.
Meh.
Get a dog or
Yeah.
something. Like a goose?
Do you think the rice was cooked? Do you think it was dried rice?
I don't know. Which is better to do? You got to think the cooked rice is easier to stomach.
stuff it in.
It's stuff in, yeah.
The cooked rice is more effort for you. And it's not like you're benefiting from it. It's the geese. The geese don't need it to be cooked.
I know, but it's, yeah, but
I don't think anyone's benefiting from this act, dude.
Cui bono.
Qui boner. Whoa.
Well, Theodora's benefiting, I guess. She's getting paid. It's her job.
She was
And she
the
got
original,
famous.
original cam girl.
She got famous. I look forward to that on TikTok. If someone wants to get some rice,
The Theodora challenge on
the
TikTok?
Theodora challenge.
Do. Like whatever that shit is.
Yeah, whoever wants to do the Theodora challenge, send us that, please.
Send it to Rob. I don't want to see it.
Yeah, send it to me. I'll send it to Jake.
You gotta just be nice to the goose. We don't want any like PETA complaints. All right.
I mean, you got to run out of content at some point, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's only. It's like Godwin's Law, but with geese eating rice out of your pussy.
At some point, everything gets done to death. You know what's funny? Someone will probably try to do that, thinking it's original, and then we'll be like, actually,
Theodora did it, dude. You fucking idiot.
dumbass.
Fuck.
Well, according to Procopius, or what?
Procopius, yeah.
Yeah, Procopius.
Which sounds like a liar. Like the name just sounds like, oh, Procopius.
How Procopius of you? Yeah.
Oh, that Procopius.
Come on. He was like, she did this and this and this, bitch. Like, what the fuck? Obviously, that's a lie. There's no way she did that.
Yeah. So that didn't happen.
No, it absolutely did not happen.
Justinian was also not letting the blues.
This guy sounds like a green to me.
Yes, he does. Sounds like a real green boy.
Yeah.
So the aforementioned historian John Malacisus, he doesn't mention any of that in his history. In fact, chariot racing doesn't even really come up in his history. So much so that chariot racing doesn't come up until it does come up. We'll
As
get into that in a
chariot
second.
racing does.
But like before that, like none of that comes up. Like he's talking about other things. Like he mentions, I don't know if this is how like benign the history was at this point, and this is before the Black Death and stuff like that. So there was like a war with Persia at the time, but it was relatively, I guess, I don't know, not much going on because he mentions an Italian showman who comes to Constantinople with his psychic dog. Like that
To predict the games.
no, just in general.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's like the fucking octopus.
No,
that
it's
just-
Picks the Super Bowl winner
Yeah,
or
it's a
whatever.
street dog.
Yeah.
Like his dog's just psychic.
But what does he pick?
And no, not about the games, it's about anything. It's like are you gonna die in the next 5 years? My dog will tell you.
How?
what?
Does he speak fucking Latin? Like, what's going on?
Well, first
so you
off,
do like a
I think they're
bark?
speaking Greek in this area.
Whatever, it's all the same.
Secondly, I don't know how the psychic dog in 500 AD works.
He goes
Why
to
didn't
treat
she-
A or treat B.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now or
Yeah, it's
later?
like a horse like stomping his hoof.
Yeah, counting.
Yeah.
You're right. Okay, so what about this dog? Tell me more.
It was God.
Oh, wait, you're saying history was so boring he just mentions this psychic dog at some point?
Yeah. He was like, and there was a psychic dog that showed up at some point.
Dude, slow decade for history.
Slow
at that
news
point.
decade. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
But Malasis has kind of towed the imperial line a little bit, so he was kind of on the other end. There is a good chance that blue fans were emboldened by their emperor being a blue fan. Probably got away with a little more. Also, probably weren't molesting children at will in the streets.
Just genocide.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look. Sometimes you got to kill three.
Well, the Greens killed the Blues. Yeah.
Sometimes you got to just.
Well,
but
they're on the wrong end of genocide.
to be fair, there are murders constantly, which is how we get into the biggest problem with the chariot racers. So the background on this, what is known as the Nika Riots. Pretty simple. This is when shit exploded with the chariot racing. There had been some light chariot racing rioting, and some people were murdered.
It happens.
You go to a chariot race,
It's expected.
you expect to you take your life into your own hands.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
That's the fun.
Dodger Stadium bleachers, I don't know, Alabama cheap seats if in an Auburn jersey. There's or an Astros fan going to a Dodgers game for the first. Like, there were videos a couple weeks ago. The Astros played at Dodger Stadium for the first time since the cheating scandal when they beat the Dodgers in the World Series.
Oh, no.
And some fucking psychos went to the Dodgers game in their Astros gear. The fight videos were all over. I mean, they were.
I haven't seen this yet.
But like, I don't like not to victim blame or whatever. But like, what did you expect?
What was she wearing?
Not to get beat up at a fucking game.
In Astros gear with psycho Dodger fans?
See, that's the thing that always blows my mind. It's like I'm just so used to like deep South, like crazy fans. I forget they have crazy fans everywhere, like LA. Yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, people used to get stabbed at the Chargers Raiders games all the time.
I would actually say LA might be the second best baseball town in America. They go fucking hard for that shit.
Number one's New York
for baseball.
Yeah.
All right, whatever.
Just lying.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But yeah, so there was a little bit of murder from some light chariot rioting.
Right.
And, no big deal, whatever, get over it. Most of the murderers were captured and executed, but a blue supporter and a green supporter who had killed people escaped from jail and took sanctuary in a church. Why were there riots, you ask? Well, it might have been due to, at the time, I don't know if this caused these riots, so there's always riots, but people were a little extra prickly because green fans were being accused of awful things, like being blasphemers or Samaritans or Jews.
That's a bad one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't you get called a Jew at a Tennessee game?
I got called a Jew pretty hard. It was a hard J, Jew, at a Tennessee game. Look, if you saw me passing you on the street, you would not know I was a Jewish person.
No, you look pretty waspy.
Yeah, like I was boat shoes, 4-inch inseam short, 5-inch inseam shorts, like Brooks Brothers polo.
You were 2010, 2011 frat star.
Yeah, fat dipping. I accidentally bumped into a guy. He goes, "Watch it, Jew!" And I'm like, "Whoa!"
Are you sure that wasn't the accent? Like he was just like, "Watch it, Jew." Like you.
Like you.
No, it was
Watch it, you.
Watch it, Jew.
No, it was a hard JOO.
He was like, "Watch it,
Jew."
Yeah. Okay.
The stink in his voice came with the Jew part, not the watch it.
Really upsetting that he could sniff you out.
It's like, do I smell like matzah again? Like, what's going on?
That's just like that's such finely honed.
I was impressed.
racism.
I was impressed by his prejudice. Honestly,
Yeah.
I was like, that's
Yeah.
pretty.
He could sniff it out.
He got it. Nose like a bloodhound. That
like,
guy.
God damn, dude.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
can we start referring to people with the Jewish background as Greens?
Oh, because the Greens are Jewish.
No, because they love money.
Oh, classic.
Yeah.
Daniel. Good one.
Ho ho. And they were
you.
being accused. It didn't help that they were being accused of these things by people in Justinian's camp.
Right.
Not Justinian himself that I'm aware of, but his people close to in his court or whatever you want to call it.
Get that burp out, bud.
Yeah.
You got it.
There we go.
Yeah.
So the Blues and Greens, despite, they murdered each other. So they were kind of like, they wanted their boys to be spared execution.
Sure.
They were like, fuck this. We always murder each other. Like, get over it.
Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Is it that big a deal?
So at the next chariot race, they shouted in unison, which was uncommon for two fan bases to shout something in unison, at Justinian for the definitely confirmed murderers to be spared because reasons, like really.
It's like we can kill each other, but we don't like the government killing us for killing each other.
And as a small government guy, I agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let people murder each other. The government has no place in what kind of bullets I put into anyone else's bodies.
As long as they're trying to put bullets into me and I'm trying to put bullets into them, you shouldn't put bullets into anybody.
If we're consensually trying to put bullets into each other, what say does the government have?
Right. I don't need the government to hand out bullets.
Yeah. Or implement them into other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just sick of it.
Right.
Sick of the government getting into that.
Or I guess in this time frame, arrows.
Arrows or
knives,
spears,
daggers. It's big day.
Vinegar sponges.
Well, that's for different things.
That was 500 years prior.
They were still using those, I think.
Okay.
Technology was a little slower back then.
Except for on the chariots, probably.
Yeah, chariot technology was incredible. Yeah.
Chariots just looked like a fucking Ford Fiesta back then. Just like they were just going, dude.
Again, they were much like F1, where they're just putting all this money into their cars.
Yeah.
And nothing else.
Nothing else.
Yeah. So this was actually pretty common for chariot factions to chant demands at the emperor between races, but it was usually like a faction. So, someone would be like, I don't know off the top of my head, just bad example, like lower taxes, or someone else would be like, lift this embargo, or like free this prisoner, or whatever the fuck. They would shout their political, or like
free hat.
Yeah, like free hat. Yeah. Like they would shout those things. It was rare they would chant in unison though, like teams together. So at this point, Justinian was still like a really young emperor, and people didn't necessarily like him because A, he had raised the shit out of taxes. B, that tax raising hurt the influence and wealth of rich families. He also kind of cleaned house on like lower level civil servant stuff. So people who were like corrupt and making money on corruption couldn't do that anymore. And also people were just assholes to new emperors.
Yeah, as he should be.
Yeah. So Justinian kind of caves to the mob and spares these two guys of execution. Just execution. Then the mob immediately starts demanding that these two guys also be pardoned of the murders they definitely committed. They already had their execution stayed.
Yeah.
So I don't know what else you would need, but weird that you couldn't appease an angry mob.
You give an angry mob a cookie.
Yeah, right.
They're going to ask for some milk.
That's crazy.
Again,
Crazy that the angry mob.
Free hat.
Free hat. Free
So
hat.
this massive chariot race, the crowd goes from chanting their favorite color. Like the Greens would be like, green, green, green.
Really, really inspiring chants.
These are the first fans ever,
Yeah.
Let's go blue.
Lower taxes.
Yeah.
Pardon the killers. Yeah, I love
Self-defense.
Consensual stabbing.
I kind of want to go to these now.
Yeah, a consensual stabbing.
Well, you mean a chariot game? Yeah.
Yeah,
Chariot race?
also
Yes.
that. Oh my God.
That's the same thing.
This is on my bucket list of time travel shit.
Just show up in yellow. Everyone's like, fuck you.
This guy. Actually, I'm going to wear my
Asshole.
St. Louis Blues jersey to the...
They wouldn't know what it said.
I know, but there'd be blue on it.
Yeah.
So that's fine. So anyway, the chariot race crowd, after they already got their guys off, but not pardoned. So Justinian was already like, all right, I won't execute them for the murders. And now they were like, say they didn't do it.
You bitch.
Yeah.
What? You won't? You bend at anyone's will, don't you, Justinian?
Yeah. He was like, no. So they started chanting Nika, 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 which means victory or to conquer.
Yeah, be careful there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not something you want to be chanting.
Nika. It's Greek for victory or conquer. I don't know what to tell you. Then pretty much they were like, fuck it, and they started assaulting the palace, which overlooked the Hippodrome. So the Eastern Roman Empire Imperial Palace basically had like a box overlook. It was next to the stadium, next to the Hippodrome, had a box overlooking it, so Justinian could preside over the races or whatever just from his palace, didn't have to leave. So they just were like, fuck it, we're going to burn this bitch down. For the next 5 days, the Imperial Palace was under siege. They were trying to light it on fire. The entire city went into full riot mode. They were burning everything down. They burned down the Hagia Sophia, which was like arguably the most beautiful church in the world at the time.
Sure.
These are Christians, by the way, who were just like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Best emperor to ever do it, huh?
This is early on. All right.
He learned after this one.
This was his 9/11.
This is like fucking. This is Philly whenever they win anything.
No, this is more Vancouver after they lost the Stanley Cup.
Yeah. Or LA after they win anything. LA actually gets a
or
bad.
Dayton. Or Dayton.
Yeah, but Dayton's more controlled. LA will just fuck shit up.
Was Dayton
Or
controlled?
it'll be like Penn State after their coach gets fired for covering up boy rape.
Or Morgantown on a Tuesday.
Yeah, Morgantown. But you just have to be angry about living in Morgantown.
Yeah.
Burn the couch.
Just do it.
So
They hate couches there.
So yeah, they're essentially, and these are all the fans combined: the Reds, the Blues, the Greens, the Whites. They are all
They united.
They united to destroy their entire city and depose the emperor
Because they wanted the killers to be free.
because 2 murderers weren't pardoned enough.
I love sports. It's my favorite thing about humans.
So
So it was like just every NFL team coming together against Roger Goodell.
literally, yeah, pretty much. And so for the next 5 days, the imperial palace was under siege. The city was being ransacked. Senators and other aristocrats who hated Justinian and his taxes and reforms started funding and leading the different factions of chariot racing fans to try to like finish the job and get Justinian the fuck out. At one point, they even declared a new emperor, Hypatius, who was the nephew of Anastasius I, who was the guy who chose the Reds to not rock the boat too much.
A level-headed man.
Yeah.
Anastasius was, yeah. So Justinian was like, thought about fleeing. He was like, fuck this. I got to get the fuck out of here. They're going to murder me. But his wife was like, there's no way I'm going back to getting on the stage. So
I'm not doing the old goose show again.
I'm not letting geese eat rice out of my vagina anymore.
Yeah.
I'm an empress now, God damn it.
I served my nickel.
I made it. Yeah. Theodora was actually like, fuck this. I'm empress and I will die an empress. Like, I'm not going to be ever in.
I respect that.
Yeah. I think her direct quote was, purple makes a fine burial shroud, because purple is the imperial
Royalty,
color.
yeah.
That's pretty boss.
That's a good. I love that. It's like, I'm not being poor again.
Yeah.
Or not even poor. I'm not being middle class again. I'm rich now.
Fuck that.
Yeah. You know how good being rich is? People are willing to die before not being rich.
It's that good. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a historically accurate statement. Like, that's throughout time.
So Justinian decides to stay in the palace, hold up in the palace, as the city's chariot racing fans are pretty much all hanging out in the Hippodrome, which is next door. That's kind of like their base of operations as they go out into the city and just murder and loot and everything that they were accused of doing before and just do now. Much of the city was destroyed. Like, it was bad. It was not as bad as when the Crusaders sacked Constantinople in the 1200s, but this was probably the worst until then. And then the only one after that was bad was the Turks taking it overall. Like I said, they destroyed the Hagia Sophia and a bunch of other churches. Finally, Justinian and some of his advisors, including Belisarius, who is arguably one of the greatest generals of all time, come up with a plan to figure out how to not have the palace burned down and be deposed, etc.
Did they release the Green Bears?
The Green Bears.
Release the Green Bears.
I kind of wish they did. Yeah, Theodosius' father just comes in with a legion of bears, just handles everything.
Yep.
No, not quite, unfortunately. So Justinian sends one of his advisors, a eunuch by the name of Narcissus, into the Hippodrome, which is where all the murderers are, with a sack of gold. So essentially a tiny...
They put a ballless man with a sack of gold somewhere?
How is he a narcissist?
And historians noted that he was of slight build. So essentially Justinian
Little
sent
twink.
a tiny man with no testicles dragging a bag of gold into an arena full of murderers.
That's the best thing I've ever heard in my life.
And
I can't imagine it went well.
you'd be surprised.
What?
He just started spinning with the gold,
So
just roundhousing everyone.
the tiny ballless man with his sack of gold, he went up to the blue fans and he was like, hey, just in case you forgot, like, Justinian, he roots for the Blues too. You know, like he's with you. Like he's with you guys. Like he roots for the Blues. And also, in case you didn't know, the new guy that the senators and everyone want to be crowned emperor, he roots for green.
Yeah.
So here's a whole bunch of gold. Think about everything I just said.
Sly. It's a sly move.
So the blue fan. So he didn't go up to the blue fans as a whole. He wasn't like, "Hey, let's go!" Like there's like elite blue fans.
Yeah.
He told them
The boosters.
Yeah.
The boosters.
He went to the blue boosters.
Yeah, right.
And then the blue boosters talked amongst themselves, and then turned around and talked to the rest of the blue fans. And then in the middle of Hypatius's coronation, the blue fans stormed out of the hippodrome, no longer supporting any of it. And the general Belisarius, who is essentially like on par with like Patton, Napoleon.
Yeah.
Like this guy is a goat in terms of the pantheon of generals throughout history. Him and a bunch of troops roll in and kill 30,000 people in the hippodrome.
That's awesome.
Just fucking slaughter everyone.
All the fans, so there are no fans left.
Oh, there's blue fans.
Except Blues.
Yeah.
That's how you
Blues
win.
all that's left at that point.
They won. That's how you win chariot racing.
Yeah.
And that's chariot racing, right? Podcast racing joke.
The Blues were playing the long game.
Podcast racing. Pod racing.
So that was the Nika Riots, which was kind of the main thing. And chariot racing still existed throughout. The only other thing that's like really of like hilarious interest. I mean, like these people were a problem.
Back in the day when you could slaughter people for having a coup.
I know, right?
Oh, Jesus.
Fucking shit. That was like pretty much the only. I mean, like that's like the most famous example. These people are a problem throughout Eastern Roman
Obviously.
history.
Yeah.
Just constant riots, stuff like that.
Like they're a problem or they're a problem.
A little bit of A, a little bit of B.
Yeah.
Depends. What's funny though is during Constantinople's last stand, a good like 800 years later, at this point the Eastern Roman Empire is essentially just a city-state. They've lost all their territory to the Turks, to Christian, other Western nations, everything. It's pretty much just the city, and they still own the city because it's a really well-defended city. Just the walls alone are incredible. So, I'm sorry, this is like 900 years later. So the Turks are approaching in the 1400s, and they're ready to take the city. They've got everything else around it. And, the Byzantine Empire, the Eastern Roman Empire, whatever, is like, well, yeah, the West is going to come to help us, but we have to defend it in the meantime. And they don't really have that many troops or anything like that. So they actually arm chariot teams, chariot fans.
Okay, so this is where the Green Bears come into play.
I was about to say, now we get to the Green Bears.
Now we release the Green Bears.
Yeah, no, there are no Green Bears released.
Damn it.
They arm.
bullshit.
What a MacGuffin. The Green Bears are a MacGuffin in this entire podcast.
are, yeah.
Am I right on that?
No,
Yeah.
red herring. They're
Red herring. Yes, MacGuffin is the thing that's driving the plot, but
Yeah.
isn't.
Red herring
yeah.
is erroneous.
Yeah, right. Okay.
I can't stop thinking about the Green Bears.
I know. I don't know why they're training bears. I couldn't find it.
I want to know how they were involved with the chariot racing.
Yeah, I have no idea.
It's not fair.
The Eastern Roman Empire has these chariot fans man the walls. Like, oh, you guys kill each other all the time. You might be able to kill some Turks. But Turkish soldiers with cannons and guns, pretty easy to beat.
They would have fucking rocked.
Yeah.
They would have gotten rocked if they had John Smith. Just going to say that.
Yeah, John Smith would have beheaded all those Turks.
One by one.
This is roughly the same time frame. I think John Smith was maybe born but young. Anyway,
What? You said 1400s, right?
late 1400s.
that would be accurate.
mid to late 1400s.
John Smith was...
Was he 100 years later?
Oh, no. He was like 1600s.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay, not the same time then. Anyway, yeah, the chariot fans were much better at killing each other than they were at killing well-armed and trained Turkish soldiers
No
with
way.
cannons.
Get out of here.
Yeah, so that didn't work out so well. Constantinople fell, and thus ended
The chariot races.
chariot racing once and for all. There'd been a decline since at that point, but yeah, that was their last stand. They didn't do a great job.
No.
The city fell.
So what team would you have been on? What's your faction?
I'm going with the Blues. I
think I'm going
Justinian.
Blues as
I already
well.
root for a team called the Blues.
Well, as a former chariot racer myself, during UCF Greek Week,
I was about to say Greek Week. Yeah.
yeah, I'm a purple guy.
There was no purple team.
All right, then I'm closest to purple.
Blue?
And red. I'm in between purple and red.
That's the easiest
Or,
way to get
blue and
murdered.
red.
Yeah, you're getting
You're
fucking
murdered
stabbed.
first. You can't ride. You can't fucking switch hit teams, dude.
Just did.
I'll see you in the parking lot.
All right.
No.
Perfect. Yeah.
You have to come with me. We're both blue.
Yeah, we're blue.
What was the fourth team?
White.
Oh, there's a white team.
Yeah.
I can't be the guy that's like, I'm the white team.
White pride. Yeah, you
white.
can't have that. Yeah.
Yeah, white pride wouldn't
No.
work out.
Doesn't usually work out well
Super
for
well.
anyone that says that.
It is all the colors.
Actually,
technically.
no. Yes, you're right. Black
I
is the
heard nothing
absence.
I
Black
heard-
is the absence of color.
And white is all colors.
All colors.
But I
yeah.
didn't hear anything about the whites.
So
Yeah, they
It's
fly
the
under the
first time
radar
in-
quite a bit throughout history.
First
don't
time
they?
in history,
Yeah.
I've never heard about the whites.
sneaky. Whites are
They
pretty
were
sneaky.
plotting the whole time.
Who was left after everything else was done? The whites.
The whites.
Yeah.
No, the whites and reds were pretty like B tier. It would be like,
Coop's loving this one.
yeah, the whites and reds were pretty B tier teams. They didn't really get much, and it's type of thing like so. You could switch teams, right? Like riders were like, or racers were like free agents. So if a red or a white racer got pretty good, chances are blue or green's going to snatch
Yeah,
them up.
white racer just doesn't.
And by the way, another huge thing is so like
Come
I'm a
with
real
some-
white racer, you know? Yeah.
go whites.
And that's our show.
Well, I was saying, another thing that was interesting. I didn't read too much into this, but part of the economy around chariot racing was gambling. Huge.
Of course it was.
Yeah, why wouldn't it be?
Huge gambling, and obviously this is pre any sort of regulatory anything. I mean, there was regulatory a little bit, but as you can imagine, fair amount of corruption.
I was about to say the fix was probably always in. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, only to an extent because you couldn't fully fix something because thousands of people would start committing murders, right? Like there
Sounds like that's exactly what happened. I don't
had
know.
to be
here.
on the up and up to an extent. Well,
Yeah.
a lot of times people would be accuse other people of fixing it, or maybe it was fixed.
Yeah.
Always a riot. Always.
Until you send in the National Guard and pull Kent State.
That's right.
Yeah, they did a bit of a Kent State for sure.
30,000
30,000 dead. That's by the way, I believe that was like 10% of the city that the army just murked in the Hippodrome.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And between that and the Black Death, I feel like they did a little population control.
That was pre-Black Death, right? The
This
Hippodrome
was all
thing.
pre-Black
Yeah.
Death. Yeah.
They
Pre-Black
really,
Death,
they really probably regretted taking out 10% of anything before
Not really.
the Black Death.
Justinian came into his own after this and became one of the best emperors in Roman history, east or west.
It was a bit of a heat check, and then
Yeah.
he kind of came back and stronger than ever.
Yeah. It's like you kind of have an awkward first swing, awkward first shot, and then,
Breakfast ball.
yeah,
Yeah.
For sure.
then you get going. But that's all I got for the chariot racing today, just so you know. Insane fandom.
It's been around forever.
A lot older than you think. What'd you guys
Tale
learn
as old
today?
as time.
Tail is.
I learned that I'm right when I'm angry about sports, and that my ancestors were probably just
in our
as,
DNA.
my ancestors were just as dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, we're dumber because these people had so much less to define themselves with.
Like
Like,
I don't
there's
know.
so many options for us to
I
enjoy
think
ourselves
we're-
or define ourselves.
I think I'm dumber for not being mad about more sports.
you want like 24/7 calendar, like all
Riots.
12 months.
I
That's why
honestly,
I'm
yeah,
watching
I
cricket.
would say that we're not even real sports fans with how little we care if we're not going to kill somebody over it.
I'm just saying, man, if Alabama comes through Gainesville next week, they're going to embarrass us, and then I should be able to just go murder them
I mean, I have watched you yell at your wife.
during a Florida-Alabama game, actually. During a Florida-Alabama game.
In
Yeah.
a Target parking lot.
It's a classic Jake Goldman joke. Have
That
you ever
is.
seen my
I've been to your
stand-up?
stand-up, yeah.
Yeah, if you've ever seen my stand-up, you know that's a throwback from Dan. My wife went to the bathroom when we threw an interception.
Yeah.
And then she came out and said, "What happened?" I was like, "What do you mean what happened? Why do I have to live this again? Why? Why are you making me explain it? There's a replay."
She's like, "What happened?" And you were like, you were just like, "Leave me alone!" Like, that was pretty much the thing. You're like, "Oh, I asked someone else. Fuck."
Yeah, I've calmed down quite a bit since then. Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah,
You
depends.
just have to abandon all hope.
What's
Really.
that?
You just abandon all hope.
Yeah.
Oh, you can ask Katie. I actually gave up on us 30 seconds into the game because we had a bad first drive. And she's like, it's 14 minutes in. And I was like, it doesn't.
Classic
Or 1 minute.
whites.
Yeah.
Classic whites.
I know. But yeah, Dan, what'd you learn?
I mean, we just went back and forth on what we learned. Just that
Oh, yeah, you're right.
sports fandom.
It's very back and forth of you, isn't
Sports fandom has been and always will be stupid as hell.
it? Yeah, I love it.
But like we're predisposed to essentially it's kind of like tribalism. It's just like
It's crazy.
you're naturally geared to go towards one side or the other. And yeah, there's no hope for humanity because we're fucking cheering for colors at this point. Like,
You just assigned your self-esteem to a piece of laundry.
yes.
A piece of laundry that you have no control over.
Yes, you do. If you do the same thing, if you realize if your team wins and you follow that same routine every time, your team will always win. Everyone knows that.
It's fair.
Yeah. That's what I do.
And that sports gambling has been around since you could gamble on anything.
Oh, sports gambling predates this by
for
thousands
sure.
of years.
Yeah. I'm sure. Like you could see like two turtles racing or just like kind of walking on a beach. You probably bet on that.
Yeah, I mean, there's ancient Egyptian board games that were like gambling related and stuff. Like sports gambling is much older than this.
I bet you we were betting on when the sun would go down before we understood how the sun worked.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. I bet you it happens in 4 clicks or whatever we were using to
Yeah, it's clicks.
measure time.
Yeah, it's clicks.
Clicks, not like distance, but
No,
like,
like you just click.
there's like a thing that happens.
Yeah.
Or a dirk.
Sure,
you know.
yeah, Dirk, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty fun to like. These are the type of things that make me feel good about humanity when I am like, dude, what are we doing or what? Like
The same shit we've always been doing.
always,
Yeah.
same shit we always have done.
Getting rowdy about sports.
These people are people.
Yep.
Like people don't. And honestly, if anything, it makes me happy because think how much better things are. How often are 3,000 sports fans ambushed and murdered
I don't know.
in the streets by other sports fans?
I'd argue we have too many options now. So like it would have been cool if there was only 4 teams in existence.
That's why the SEC is going to take over all sports.
Yeah, everybody merges together.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we are the not the anomaly, we're the entity. We just take over everything.
What is the entity?
I don't know. But we just take
It's not the Alliance, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Fuck the
That's the
Alliance.
mega blocks.
Are you part of the alliance? No,
Well,
you're
no,
not.
we're Big 12, so we are now in an alliance with the SEC because you guys have no other choice because you can't play out of conference games against the alliance teams.
We don't need to play out of
technically.
conference games.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to play us. It's kind of part of the deal for Texas and Oklahoma going to the SEC.
Not worried about
So I'm
it.
excited for Mizzou, UCF again.
I'm excited for.
We're already 2-0.
Whatever.
Hey, we got a Florida UCF game coming up too.
2
2 of them.
in
It's
like
a home and home.
10 years.
Yep.
Let's fucking go.
Dumb.
All right, that's all I got for this week.
Yeah, make sure to rate and subscribe, obviously, on iTunes. Tell a friend about the podcast. Help us grow. We got some ads right now, but it'd be sick to continue getting paid to do this podcast.
Buy our swag.
Check out softcorehistory.com.
Yeah, softcorehistory.com for merch. We'll get some. Maybe we get some Chariot racing shirts
We
going.
should get. We'll start making. It's just gonna be green shirt
or just go white.
or a blue shirt.
Go whites.
Go whites.
That's the shirt.
No, and the back of the shirt will just be a long explanation of why it says that. It's like, no, listen here. Back in the Eastern Roman Empire, there were 4 factions of teams, and it's just a very long text block explaining why it's not a racist shirt. We'll make that
Yes. So go white will be the shirt.
on the front.
Yeah.
The back will keep you from being
Like
stabbed.
a paragraph explaining.
No, it's gonna be. It will run out of room.
Yeah.
While it's explaining it.
We're doing that shirt.
Yeah,
That's
like
probably
a
gonna
Star
happen.
Wars intro.
Yeah, that's all I got. Check out. Please buy our merchandise and rate, subscribe.
review, tell a friend about the podcast. Yeah, that's the best way to kind of grow this podcast. Just put, go take your friend's phone, take your date's phone. You go on a Tinder date, take their phone, subscribe to our podcast without them knowing.
Also,
Yeah.
if you don't like even listening to podcasts, or you have a friend who doesn't like listening to podcasts, be like, hey, do this. Do you have like an Alexa or something like that? Just have them play the podcast for the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't have to actually listen to us. Just play it.
Let us make money from this so we don't have to do normal jobs.
That's what I'm saying. And if
Yeah.
you do like this podcast, keep listening. Tell more people about it, and then we grow, and then we can do more shows every week.
I could do.
If-
I could do this every day of my life if you guys listened hard enough. Is all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, you guys need to listen harder.
You're letting Jake down.
Yeah. Now I have to do hard work.
I have to actually
Boo.
work. Boo.
Stupid. All right. See you guys next time for Jake Goldman and Dan Regester. I am Rob Fox.
And you just got soft served.